Today I want to show you this USB soldering iron. It's pretty amazing, although it doesn't really do 8 watts as it says over here, but it's something like 6.6 or 6.5 watts, depending on the power supply. This one will only give it about 1.2 something amps, but the more beefier power supply will reach something like 1.3. But either way, it doesn't do 8 watts, but it heats up really quickly because of the small tip over here. And this is what you get in the package. I threw the package away because you will probably do the same with it, and it was all in Polish, and so it wouldn't do much good for you. You will be able to buy this on the AliExpress or other China store just fine for really cheap price, about I think $8, something like that. What the package includes is some some solder. I don't think that's pretty good solder. The stand, not really sure about it. I don't think that's also a good idea because it just lies down on its own really nice. And also the cover, you can put it even if it's hot to hide it in your toolbox, because I don't think you would be using this anywhere at home, mostly on the job or on the side or somewhere when you don't have a power supply, proper socket, so you will probably use a power bank for that. So that's the you can also unscrew this, and this will allow you to change the tip. So that's pretty simple combination. It's probably it supplies the current to the tip through the middle there and the outer connection. So all you need to do is to put a new tip in case this will break, and just screw that in. Mind you that I'm not sure because the resistance of the tip should probably change, but at the room temperature it's something like 13 ohms, so not really that big. And you also have this power lead. The middle part is not connected. This part is basically ground or minus, and this is plus 5 volts, so that's easy to replace. I won't be taking this apart. If you are curious what's inside, go and check the Big Life. He basically took it apart, and also through a schematic. It has a 555 timer, and when you turn it off, it uses this as a sensor, and also the spring inside to see that you're still using it, and it will turn on for about a half a minute. To be specific, I think it takes 25 seconds for it to turn off on its own, and it really is fast to cool down because of the small tip. And also this is also a stand, so just in case you will need it, it probably won't burn, and this is a really nice stand. So let's just connect it, and let me show you a bit the current on this one. That should be rather simple. Just keep in mind that some power supplies will turn off when this LED will go out, and you will have to retrigger them. As you can see, 1.2 amps, something like that, at 5 volts, and it will go out after some time. Other thing is, you may have problem retriggering this if you have I usually have oily fingers, so that's not a problem. But if you have other dry fingers, you may have problem triggering this. So it heats up really well. let me just put it down, and let me show you how much heat can it put out. So for this, I will be using the thermocouple and this meter. This thermocouple should take up to, I don't know, I'm pretty sure up to 350 Celsius. So let me just hit this thermocouple. You already have 200. Re-trigger this. And that's pretty good because 260 and it's still getting hotter. 230. May need to re-trigger this. 270, yeah, something like 280. So you may have problems with soldering with high temperature solder, but otherwise you won't be having any issues with this because it's pretty hot for its size, and it's pretty amazing. Also, if you have a huge solder joint, I mean huge, you probably will have also the issue with it. But other than that, any small soldering like on this board, you won't ever have any problems with it. If you're thinking that you will be able to power this from your PC or phone, like so, I have a bad news for you because they usually have current limiting functionality. So if I just power this on and connect the soldering iron like so, it will just drop the current. It won't be, as you can see when I trigger it, it just lights up for a fraction of the second and that's gone. So phone or your laptop it basically requires, even if you have 3.0 USB in your laptop, it basically requires the device to ask for this much current, and this little board is too simple to do that for you. I wouldn't recommend to use this on a wall power supply just in case there isn't enough separation, and you sometimes work on a very delicate equipment that any static may break, and some currents may just make this difference, just go through the... It shouldn't affect you as a user, even though you are touching this ball that is, I think, connected to the ground. Let me just check that real quick. So let's see. That's ohm meter mode, and let's see if that's connected to the ground. No, it's not. Yeah, nothing at all. How about this one? No, nothing. So that's pretty good. But I still wouldn't recommend using a wall power supply. Just use something like a power bank. It should work great. And if you're using a USB soldering iron, then I guess that's the only idea when that's good. You should also mind it. Even though it heats up real quick, it really cools down quickly also. So you sometimes have to wait before soldering another joint. And also what I thought about is to use something like this. This is a simple foam often used in usual soldering irons, and I also have this solder. And what's good about it is the package basically, and if I take it out, I can use this foam to have a wiping pad for the soldering iron, and because you will be carrying this around probably, so just roll it up, put it inside this like so. You can move around back and forth to make this a bit easier. You can help yourself even with the soldering iron, just put it in there, and Then, but what's a great idea is just to put this inside the water, so it will be nice and wet. Okay, let's just do it once again. And so, after you've done this, you can put this into your toolbox, take your soldering iron anywhere, and when it will heat up, and you need to wire something from the soldering iron, let's wait it for a while to heat up. And also let me show you the reason why I don't really recommend using this on many solder joints. And let's just see when it will be hot enough to melt solder. Okay, it's almost there. 1 second more. Okay, should be quite fine. So let's say you have too much solder, just wick it there. And keep in mind, if you wick it too much, you won't be able to solder it directly. You have to wait a while. And after a while you should be able to see it. No, not yet. Should be able to solder again. Okay, so it's almost there, so I think about 200 Celsius. And you can wick it again, and after all the job you will be done. Just disconnect the soldering iron, put it inside, so it will cool down quickly, like so. You should be able to touch it by then. Put on the cap, just fine, and leave it there. And also at home you can clean this out. As you can see, the remainings of the solder. Well, I really recommend this method. You can even fill this cup in case you want to have this a bit more water resistant, so this one in your toolbox won't move around and splash everything. And well, basically that's it. It's a amazingly well made 6 watts soldering iron. I can really recommend it. And again, if you want to see inside of it, how it works, how's the 555 timer connected, check out the biglife.com video. And thanks for watching. A bit of correction: if you will turn on your PC, you should, with the USB 3.0, you should be able to power the soldering iron. As you can see here, 1.24 amps at 4.71 volts. But this is a port, a very special port that should charge your devices even if if the laptop is in the sleep mode. So let me just put it into sleep mode, and you will see that it will just blank out. If I disconnected the soldering iron, it will be fine, but it won't. If I trigger it, it will just cut out. So keep that in mind. So in any case, just try it around. If you are pretty confident that your devices will take as much as 1.5 max current, I guess, with this soldering iron. But just in case, if you have any really cheap power supplies, it may break. But in case of properly made laptops, they should withstand much higher current and basically cut off in any situation. But it will destroy the board.